Welcome back.
You there?
Oh, shit.
Sorry, but
Don't
I
fucking
thought
do
you
that.
dropped off again. I couldn't hear you for a second.
Yeah,
We're
well,
recording?
yeah, we're recording. I mean, we're going. We're in the show. So, everybody, welcome back. Bell to Bell, Bobby Blaze, Professor Jeremy Vilmur. Sitting over there is some smart ass named Bobby Blaze. What's happening, Bobby?
Hey, man. I don't know about smart ass. The computers and internet can kind of make you feel like a dumbass sometimes, man. We started the show, folks, about an hour ago, and took a little bit of time off in between. The internet came and went, and who knows what, but we were in the middle of something during the opening, so we're starting from the top. I do know this. I'm going to go ahead and give it the top 10 stupid moves and holds and finishes and things like that for professional wrestling. And Jeremy's going to give us this week's sponsor, and then we'll go right into it, man. How's that?
That sounds fantastic. I feel like we've done this before.
I think so.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, your internet provider is selling your browsing history and your searches, and they know exactly what you've been touching yourself impurely to. To keep them from doing that, you should get a VPN. I can recommend one from Private Internet Access. I've been using them for 8 years. You go to tinyurl.com/blaze, PIA, Papa India Alpha. And, you can try it out for free, risk-free 30-day trial. If you pay for a certain amount ahead of time, you get 2 months for free. But more importantly, you get peace of mind. All right, Bobby, with that being said, let's get rolling here, huh?
Yeah, all right, man. I like how you spelled this stupid, STOOPID. But yeah, we've got I'll let you preface it there. We've got a couple reasons as to how we put this up. Last week when we went off the air, we had this great idea about this week's podcast, and we just started cracking up with it because just as we finished up, it's just like we talked a little bit off the air, and before we knew it, we was laughing like that'd be funny to do. So that's what we're going to do, these holds and finishes, and Jeremy's added on or moves and holds, and now we've added finishes. So it's kind of stuff that I'll let Jeremy preface it here, but it's just stuff that we just was cracking up with, just a couple of 3 of them, and we said, okay, let's do a top 10 on these. Go ahead, Jeremy, preface it how we kind of got to where we're at.
Well, so anytime you and I start talking wrestling, we get pretty deep into the weeds on it, and one of the things that especially now more than ever we've noticed is that finishing holds, they're kind of running out of steam, and we were kind of talking about some of the worst ones we'd ever seen, and we just kind of started spitting out some answers. And last night when I was working on the notes, I started putting together kind of criteria or things that I think make finishes bad or finishers or moves bad, and I came up with 4 classes that I think all of them will fit into one of these 4, if not 2. So the first one I have is they don't make sense. Like something about it just doesn't work. It lacks logic. And when you're doing a combat sport, I think it has to make sense, because if you lose credibility with your audience, then they're out of it. They know what's going on, and it just looks dumb,
Mm-hmm.
The second one I have is it looks like it hurts the person delivering the move more than the person receiving the move.
Yeah.
Good
point.
Yeah, I think that one you probably see pretty often, and it just like you watch somebody give the move and you're just like, holy shit, why is that guy up and moving around, The one that I hate, and this is class 3, is it breaks momentum. So you got somebody moving in a certain direction at a breakneck speed, and then when the move kicks off or halfway through the move, it shifts and goes the other way. When anybody that's ever interacted with another human being physically knows that if you try to break momentum mid-movement, it's not going to work. That's why Aikido, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, they all go into you absorb their movement and then continue it that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the last one I have is that it just doesn't look like it hurts.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, since these are stupid moves, holds, and finishes, I don't know if I ever told you this, but do you know the strongest hold in wrestling?
The strongest hold? No.
Yeah, strongest hold. It's the fucking pencil hold. And that's what the Booker holds. He's got the pencil, brother.
The power
he's got
of pencil.
The most powerful hold in the business because he can put the W, he can put the L, or he can give you one of these finishes, and you can go up or down or sideways or wind your, whatever. But yeah, always watch out for the office hold, folks.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be on our list, but I gave away the strongest hold, and that's the office hold.
And that, as they would say, is a straight shoot.
There you go. Yeah. So we always have people writing us and letting us know about, what they think about the show. This week, we were smart enough to jump ahead and out to our Twitter accounts. You can find Jeremy at the Geekish Cast. You can find me at Bobby Blaze 744, or hit us up at our joint account on Bell to Bell Blaze on Twitter, and there's also a Bell to Bell Blaze on Facebook as well. But we put out there some fillers for, we want y'all to interact. And so some of these, we'll give credit where credit's due when it's time. But we had about 20 or so. And, of course, we want to do a top 10 in honor of the way we, normally do our top 10 list. But we're going to get a couple. We're going to give 3 honorable mentions first, and then we'll start into our top 10. Now, if a caller, caller number 9. No, if someone gave us one of these, we'll kind of acknowledge as we went along because I wrote down their names. So I don't have any big major shout outs or anything this week. Do you?
You know what? Just one more. We lost Larry King this weekend to COVID.
Yes. And, I saw that.
Yeah, and he's kind of the Gordon Soley of not wrestling. And, I mean, it's just, I'm watching all these names now of people just dying on top of the nearly 500,000, most of whose names we don't know.
Right.
And, so,
Well, Larry King, the thing about him, hell, he had like 4 or 5 triple, quadruple bypasses and about 15 marriages, none of that shit could kill him. So I really think the suspenders were probably the only thing holding him together.
Might be.
I really liked Larry King. He go after people, man, and he was a mainstay. Anytime you turn that TV on, man, interviewing people and opening people's eyes to different situations. He was pretty entertaining, man. I put him over.
Oh yeah.
Someone wrote me they weren't a fan, but they had respect for him. A friend of mine, that's cool. But yeah, I think the suspenders. I think he is down to the suspenders. That's about the only thing holding that man together. Bless his heart.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there.
Oh, okay. So honorable mention. The first one, I'll throw it out. I'll let Jeremy throw the next couple out. The first one is the Worm. I don't know. It was smooth, man, the way I guess Scotty Too Hotty and several other people did it. I guess Rakishi, did he even try it? I don't know. But anyway, that was just so, it took momentum away. It kind of built up the momentum of, I'm going to do it. But then you're going down and you're like, the people, whoa. And you're like, man, and then you basically just coming up off the, breakdancing move and you hump. You're going for a pin on a guy. I don't know. It just seemed a little ridiculous. But for those fans that watch it for that reason, that particular product, I can see where that would be very entertaining to them. But it's not something that was over for me. I just nothing against Scotty. He's a great guy, but I just didn't dig it. But hey, he found something that worked for him, and it's on our honorable mention list. Of just a stupid move or to do. What's your opinion on that, or you want to move on or whatever? I'm open to whatever. We're going to try to have fun with this for sure.
Yeah, I thought the Worm was ridiculous, but it comes from a time when a lot of the moves were ridiculous. But it just, what's it do? You barely fall on a guy after you do the Worm.
Yeah. And I'm saving some of my comments too, because if the guy's just laying there, I'm going to save that for another one probably.
Yeah.
Because you basically have to, to set it up, that's okay. I'm going to lay here and take the finish, and that's what we're talking about, taking a pin or whatever. What you got next then? Well, that kind of goes right along with that.
The next one under honorable mentions I have is the Stink Face.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to bring it to your attention. Those were sent in by Nate, just to let you know. Nate from Wide Men Can't Jump sent me. He sent several, but we picked those two out of his. Several people actually sent these in, by the way. And I'll mention it as we go. Like I said, Nate sent in a bunch of these at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nate didn't make the top 10, but it made honorable mention. The stink face. I never took that, and I'm glad. To me, it just
well, here's the thing.
Honestly, it looked like if you had a turnbuckle a certain way, it would hurt. I don't think he intentionally hurt anyone. I'm just saying, when you got your neck back, talking to a man that has neck problems, when you got it back in that turnbuckle like that, I just felt like it could have been painful, to be honest with you. But as far as just keeping your face up in someone's ass, I could think of a lot of broads I'd do that for. I know that sounds cruel, doesn't it? Calling a girl a broad, but kind of girls I hang out with are broads, and I probably paid for the service. And if I want the stink face from them, I'll get it from them.
Exactly. And I didn't know. I thought when you said broad, I thought maybe we were talking the width of their hips or something.
Well, okay, let's not go there. That's a little bit too straight for me.
Well, I was going to say the stink face is kind of like a context sensitive, like, is it stupid or what? But like Rikishi, nobody wants to catch that.
Right.
Becky Lynch, well, it's okay, Yeah. And then as to your point, imagine a guy as big as Rikishi running in and hitting you with his thigh rather than his ass. Yeah, that's not something you want to get hit with,
So, yeah.
But,
well, just so you know, I finished 2 bottles of water, and we're like 14 minutes into that shows you how long we wait to record. I drank a half a bottle while we started earlier, drank a whole bottle since then, and then I'm into my 3rd bottle of water. Just to let you know, think if we'd have been drinking beer today, recording later or something.
Last half of the show,
deep. Yeah.
Last half of the show would be nothing but slurs and pee breaks, man.
Here you go.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one kind of reversed to the stink face. Instead of putting her ass in her face, what do you got there?
Bronco Buster.
Yeah,
I believe this was made famous by a classmate of yours, really.
I was going to say, Sean X-Pac there, 6, whatever you want to call him there, he would do that. I guess he done it as X-Pac there. But, just hitting, you run across the ring and you hit a guy in the face with your crotch in the turnbuckle. Once again, it's pretty impressive because, you're doing it to full speed and you're on a guy's face. Again, to me, it looks like if your head's not right in that turnbuckle, it doesn't look to be the most comfortable. Now, once he's in that position, though, and he's riding up and down, and he's riding you like a bronco, to me, that part just becomes funny. He's having a good time, obviously. Pretty much probably like Rikishi is, too, giving you a stink face. But it's just one of those things you just got to lay there and pretty much take the dick to the face, And again, I'd not saying I wouldn't do it for Sean at an earlier, younger age. I'm just saying it's like he got it over and stuff, but to me it's just kind of like I said, just kind of a stupid, goofy move. But obviously he had fun with it, But I don't know if you know this, but and I put the emphasis on but. No laughing matter. He tore his anus doing that move.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was in serious trouble. Lost a lot of blood, had to have major surgery. I'm not sure the full detail how it happened. I think, he also set up to where he'd miss it too. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it happened in Minnesota, but I could be wrong. And it wasn't an indie show, but I think he set the person up, and I don't know if he hit him the first time that he moved or if the person moved when he done it. But apparently the way the turnbuckle was, the turnbuckle had been moved slightly, and he hit that metal ring and basically, gave himself a rim job with the metal turnbuckle. And it tore him up pretty bad. I was listening to some of his interviews at that time, and it was a pretty serious injury during his career. I don't know how long ago that was, but it was a serious injury, man. Because he goes full speed across the ring again. I'm thinking he must have had the guy move in the spot, but the turnbuckle 2 was out of place, if I'm not mistaken, or it wasn't thick enough. And anyway, basically he has nutted himself and crossed himself, but it ripped his anal, and he said can't remember how he said exactly, but he knew immediately he was hurt. He knew he was bleeding immediately. He could feel the moisture that quick. He knew he had done something.
Oh, God damn it!
I'm not sure stretcher got right there or not, Professor, or if they got him to the locker room. But he said he felt immediately he knew he was bleeding as soon as he did it. He could feel blood everywhere.
Yeah, just hearing that makes my
down.
Well, it just makes my stomach and my balls hurt just hearing it. It's just like I can physically feel pain. So I knew a guy who was a power lifter back in the 90s, okay? Great big son of a bitch, like almost 7 feet tall, just big, and he was roided out at the time. Well, he went to a strongman competition, and they were lifting telephone poles. And he got down on it, and went to snatch it up, and he prolapsed his anus, and his guts fell out through his asshole. And so that obviously ended his lifting career, and he had to have meshes and shit put in, and it got him off steroids, which is probably the best thing that came out of it. But I'm just like, holy fuck, just hearing that fucking just sends just willies up and down my spine. I feel sorry for anybody anything like that's happened to. God damn, I'm sorry to hear that. Holy shit.
So our honorable mention was the Worm, the Stink Face, and a Bronco Buster. And we didn't mean to get so graphic there, but like they say, don't try this at home, children. It's let the professionals do it. And sometimes when the professionals do it, they end up getting hurt too.
Mm-hmm.
So even though these are what we said, stupid moves, holds, and finishes, and you'll see some of them are the way we make light of it. And that's what we're doing, by the way, too. We're going to be making light of some of the things you folks out there, I think, will appreciate, but you're also going, I can't believe those guys went there, because we do have such a deep respect for professional wrestlers and the performers they're in. So with that said, we're ready to start our top 10 with one of the most iconic finishes of all time through the years that we've all seen. Whether you're one of your younger listeners, newer listener, but definitely in our age bracket of listener. Start us off with number 10, Jeremy.
Number 10 is the leg drop.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so we're specifically going to talk about one of the greatest wrestlers of all time here, probably. Well, pro wrestlers. He couldn't really wrestle for shit, except in Japan, apparently. But he could win matches over as fuck. Probably the second biggest star to ever come out of pro wrestling. And he used the dumbest finishing move I've ever seen. Bobby, hey, I want you to, you're going to win this match, but to do so, I want you to walk up to that guy and fall right on your ass, okay?
Yeah. And we talked about, when we was talking about Ric Flair last week, we actually brought this up. There was a couple people we brought up last week that kind of pushed this hand on us as to do these holds, and that was because we talked about over the years that move, that finish for Hogan, it compressed his spine, that he's had to have several surgeries, and if you see photos nowadays, of course, Father Time and gravity will take an inch or two. I don't know to what extent, even if, I walk up pretty straight, but I'm sure I have a little bit of a hump, but I'm sure, though, my spines went down a little bit. But Hogan, you can see, he was 6'7", 6'8" at one time, and he's nowhere. He's lost 3, maybe 4 inches off of that, due to that. And I'm sure night after night, even mentioned it, he probably didn't do it twice in a match, very seldom. There was those select matches, but for the most part, he knew that finish was coming, had to get fired up for it and go out there and do it right in the middle of the ring, 5, 6, 7 times a week, man. And that just takes a toll on your fucking body. But once again, it's just, if he was dropping his ass on you, it'd crush your head. Mm-hmm. If he dropped a knee on you, it'd crush your face. But just that, that leg drop, he just hooks his leg and walks out there, stops, drops over you. Of course, everyone knows it's coming because it's Hogan doing it. And that that's probably going to give people an indication if we're willing to start off picking on Hulk Hogan in a leg drop. Well, we probably got some other ones now. So how do you rate that as the stupid as it's number 10? Is that like because it's painful to the guy doing it more than it is to the guy receiving it? Is it 101 because it's supposed to be the finish? It doesn't stop momentum. It stops the match.
Yeah.
Where do you see that on the scale at? What are you putting that in?
You know, with that one specifically. Look, okay, so just talking again about Sean Waltman. His leg drop looked like it could fuck you up a little bit because he came balls out at you and he slid forward on the leg drop and hit you in the head.
And Sean would do one. Sometimes he would do it. I don't know how often he did it on TV, but he had a really sweet leg drop where he would do 3 or 4 in a row, and he'd kind of do like a baseball slide and drop that leg, and he'd do them boom, boom, boom. You know, get up, he'd get right back up and drop 3 or 4, and it looked really, really good. And he wasn't jumping up in the air either, elevating like Hogan did sometimes. He was just dropping a leg, you know. And again, not defending Sean, but just saying it's just one of the he done it a different way, you know, different way to do the move. Yeah, that actually wasn't so stupid, to be honest with you.
Well, no. So what I was going to say is that there is a way for this move to look like it hurts. Yeah. But I'm going to say in this case, Hulk Hogan's, I'm going to put it as a class 2. Looks like it hurts the person delivering it more than the person taking it. Because you can't.
I agree with that. And I think you're right.
Yeah, 310-pound man jumps another foot in the air and then falls on his ass. No. There's no way. I mean, that's just. No.
I'll say this on behalf of Hogan. I don't know, and I'm sure someone could find it. I'm not going to go out there and look for it. But as far as I know, even later in his career, Professor, I don't think he just stopped and dropped it. He actually jumped, I'll say 89% of the time. When he dropped it, he went out there and jumped up and dropped it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
He may have stood over the guy, but he still got a little bit of height to it. He just didn't stand there and drop it, you know, like some people have, you know. So he, like you said, he's, you know, 6'7", whatever it is, and jumping up there, putting that extra momentum on. And yes, the mat does give, but those mats are unforgiving. Let's say that. I know that for a fact. So coming in at number 10, the leg drop. And we'll just associate the person with that particular hold that's probably most known for it. And there'll be other people out there. Someone's coming to mind. I can't think of who it was that done a leg drop, but they would go out there and just stand and drop down real quick over a guy. Didn't look spectacular at all. It really didn't.
No, and I can't remember. Like, I think during a match one time I heard Gorilla say something like, "Oh, he dropped his massive thigh on the throat of his opponent." Well, that thigh ain't fitting over anybody's throat. I mean, there's nobody with a throat that fucking big. And secondly, that leg hits about, I don't know, top third of the chest. So it doesn't even look like it's hitting the throat, you know. It just looks like, it just bounces on the chest a little bit. And I'm not saying a 310-pound man dropping on you isn't going to hurt. It's just the way he did it. It looked like the impact went to his ass, and his leg happened to hit the other dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this next one, that's where I was going with that. But what kind of wasn't picking on Hogan there, wasn't putting over Sean, X-Pac there, just kind of let you know there's different ways to do it. This next one does go for a certain person. I'm sure other people have done it, but it comes off of using his name, and he's a phenomenal wrestler, and that is the Styles Clash that he uses, and we've got that on there. Talk a little bit about that, Professor. I know you think he's a phenomenal wrestler, which he is, but why don't you like this finish, or why is it a stupid finish for you, or a stupid hold?
Well, the setup sucks, and the fall is garbage, and what's the target on the body he's hitting?
Yeah, so is he hitting their ass and face? What exactly is he stopping? You're talking about he's stopping momentum for one, right? Mm-hmm. To set it up.
The setup is garbage. Yeah,
so that's the breaking the momentum part.
Yep.
Looks to me like he's hurting himself a little bit. But how's he hurting the other guy?
Yeah, because he doesn't fall far enough for it to be like a belly flop or like a throw on them. Mm-hmm. It
straight down, just pretty much straight down.
Yeah, and if they landed on their face, like Triple H's pile driver, or even Colonel De Beers used to use a pile driver like that. Well, they made it look like they were putting dude face first into the ground. This thing, I don't even know, is he doing a modified face forward pile driver onto their stomach?
I don't know, because I don't know if their face is hitting the mat or not.
Well, no, because their armpits are behind his calves.
Yeah, I got you.
So no, their upper body is a foot off the mat, you know.
Yeah.
So no, this thing for a guy like AJ Styles, who can do these Pele flip kicks and all this shit, you know, even in his mid to late 40s, he still does shit that nobody else can do, you know.
Yeah.
And then this for 20 years has been his finisher.
I'll present you with this question, and I don't know how. I don't have any insight on this. It's just my opinion. Just my opinion. Asking you the question rather. You should always be able to do a finisher that you can do to any size of guy. And
yes.
AJ wasn't all that big when he was big. Don't get me wrong, but he's bigger, stronger now than when he first started. Obviously, more mature, you know, muscle wise and everything. Do you think maybe that's because he done that because he could do it to a bigger guy when he was at a time working with a lot of smaller guys? Could that be a factor? You think? Something easier that he could put himself in, put his opponent in, where he had to stop the momentum on purpose to slow it down. So I can put you in this here's my finisher. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I have no insight. I'm just asking, you know, do you think maybe he had to think about that? Like a reverse neck breaker was a finish, okay, just to throw some out. Well, you could do it to any one of these size of a guy. You know, you go up to them and, you know, they're bent over and you know, just do it, you know, put your arm out the back of their neck and do it. That's something that you can pretty much do to any size guy, height-wise, weight-wise, whatever. I'm wondering if AJ – just go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, but think about that reverse neck breaker, okay? Mm-hmm. That's got a dynamic to it where you grab them and you spin them, and then it's got a pop when you hit the mat at the end too. Mm-hmm. Well, this thing just kind of looks like a wet fart. It just kind of it doesn't even hit the ring that hard, you know.
Okay.
And when it does, what's he hitting it with? Their thigh and stomach? I mean, what is being driven into the ground in this? You know.
Okay. Maybe that's why I was thinking maybe you could do it to a bigger or a smaller guy.
Well, there's probably something to that, and the fact that, you know, wrestling finishers have to be instantly recognizable. So, you know, but I mean, this thing, he's got to gut wrench them up and then step over their arms and then fall to the floor. I don't know. It's just not a favorite. Yeah, Bobby, there's probably something to what you're saying though, because as soon as he gets them up, you know, all he has to do is gut wrench him up, and he's a strong guy. He can do that to just about anybody. Step over the arms, drop down, back row. You see that move start, you know what's coming. You know. Yeah. There's probably something.
Production too of what we talked about. What from Impact to WWE, and they know it's coming. It's a setup move. You know, they can see it coming, like you said, for 20 years now. So you're in a back row, you can see it coming. You know this is the finish basically. Okay, so this next one I'm gonna go with. It was sent in by No Gimmicks Guy. Hey, shout out No Gimmicks Guy. He said this was no doubt number one, but we put it up here number 8. In pre-production or pre-talking, I'm gonna let you say what you had to say about it, because I think what you said about it is a lot better than what I have to say about it. But it's the Canadian Destroyer. I just said this. I think it's way, way overused nowadays, and I left it at that. But you had some comments. I'd like to hear your comments again on that, because I know it's kind of a pet peeve of yours when you talk about helping the other guy looking like it hurt. You know, go ahead. Go and you do your deal on it. Yeah, that's number 8, Canadian Destroyer.
So this move, okay, so the very first time you saw it was probably in the early to mid 2000s. In an indie league somewhere, you know, you saw this in a VFW hall or something, right? And the first time you see it, it fucking pops. I mean, holy shit, did you see that? Second time you see it, you're like... I
saw it and I popped.
Yeah, the first time. Second time you see it, you're like... So the guy receiving the move does a flip with the other guy holding on to him, but the wrong person hits the ground at the end, so therefore it's not a flip, it's a pile driver. but there's no way the guy delivering the move could actually get somebody to move that way, so you know it's the guy receiving the move driving the whole fucking thing. And it just pulls you out. And, you know, that's the second time you see it. You know, every time after that, you're just like, fucking stupid. Knock it off.
Okay. Now, here's me as one of the boys when I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
The exact way you described it. I popped. Then I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute. What? Wait a minute here. And I tried to, you know, watch it again to see if I saw what I thought I saw. And then on the third time, I was like, hold on here, man. This guy's assisting this guy a hell of a lot more in his own finish. And it looks like it's hurting him more the guy taking the finish. Okay.
Yep.
I'm over it. You know, I mean, when the first time you saw it, you really fucking popped, you know.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what was that? And then you're like, oh, that's what it was. Okay. Not impressed anymore.
No.
Not saying I'm going to run out and do one right now or whatever. I think Ricky Morton did one about a fucking year ago with someone's assistance on one of the AEW shows, and more power to him, you know, at his age, and that's great, but it's just not something like you said, it's just no gimmicks guy. I said, I think he I can't pull up his tweet right now, the direct message to me, but I pretty much said something like, without a doubt, the number one, or, you know, is Canadian Destroyer. So he really doesn't like it. So, but we put it in there. So number 10 was Leg Drop. Number 9 was a Styles Clash. And number 8 was a Canadian Destroyer. And now we're going to go to number 7. And this is kind of a twofer. I'll mention the first part, and then I'll let Professor tell you about the second part of this that kind of goes with it. I thought this was, even the first time I saw it, I thought, wait a minute, this is stupid, and I'll tell you why it's stupid, because the fucking guy's in the ropes. You can't fucking do a move in the ropes, tying up in the ropes, because you can't finish the guy, because the ref's going to make you break the fucking hold, or you're going to get disqualified. Yep. And that's the jury did it, and I'm sure other people have done it. I know a guys around here that's done it on independent shows once they saw it there, but it's the tarantula. I saw that hold, and I thought, okay, yeah. And Chris King and Shane Storm were two of my students at the time, wrestling a lot of shows, and they were the two that showed it to me on each other, not me, by God. My body didn't bend like it at that point. But no, and I was like, well, and they was impressed. These young guys getting into business and this and that, and I can see why. I saw their enthusiasm. But I was like, okay, but here's why I don't get it. Y'all might think I'm just an old bastard. I was in my 30s then, so I don't know. But I still probably a bastard, just saying. Just like I was like, yeah, but I don't get it. You're in the ropes. The ref has to make you can only hold it for like 4 or 5 seconds. Yes, I do know it's a work, guys. Yes, I can go ahead and put yourself in it. Yes, put it in your match. That's fine. But I don't, you know, not on me, you know, I don't know. To me, it made no sense, because you're assisted by the ropes and you're tied up in the ropes. So the whole fucking thing's a wash.
Yeah. So, you know, over time, as wrestling has progressed like it has, the rules become less and less consistent. Now, you know, I get it. You got a story to tell, and sometimes shit's inconvenient. And, you know, there's a reason why it used to take an NWA ref and half an hour to count to 10 outside the ring, stuff like that. You know, there's drama, there's things you got to build up. But as a wrestling fan, especially those of us who are more NWA skewing than WWE skewing, we're more into the technicalities. You know, we want to believe that a guy has good ring knowledge. He knows where he's at in the ring. He knows how to get a hold broken, because he knows always how close he is to the ropes, and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for us, you got something that plays fast and loose with the rules. We're already subconsciously going to be a little bit like, okay. But as soon as you start doing moves in the ropes, and the move requires people doing shit that they don't ever do. Nobody ever does this in a match unless it's against Tajiri. Nobody ever ends up in this position. This is the thing. This is why I have the 619 in here as well.
Yeah, that's why I was waiting for you. Yeah.
Nobody ever falls between the first and second rope unless they are wrestling Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Never. but then it does. Now, Rey Mysterio's is a hit rather than a hold, so it makes a little more sense. You're going to pull a strike where you can.
And unless you're some skinny little mascot, weighs about $130 on an independent show out here, that seen that and saw that back in the day and going, hey, I want to be a Mexican wrestler, luchadors, I think what they call them. Mm-hmm. And then they said, now you stay right there.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's another fucking area code. You're from the 606. That's from the 619. Pal.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out the door. We had a guy from up in Pikeville on the show, and he was L0 or something. I don't know what the fuck his name was. He was like, I like doing that 619. And we had a guy from Australia, Mark Mercedes was here, and we had a pretty good show. And he said he came with the ring crew to set the ring up, and we used them the one day. And anyway, like I said, he's not even about 50, whatever, and he's, wants to be Rey Mysterio Jr., whatever. So he says to Mark after the show, he goes, man, from Australia, and I'm getting the rest of all you guys. We had some pretty good shows lined up. Hell, we had Man Fernandez on a couple of them with Tracy was on them. I'm trying to think who else. Frank Murdoch was on them. I mean, we had three good shows lined up over the 4th of July weekend. And so he asked Mark what's the best advice he could give him in professional wrestling. Mark said, get the fuck out of the business. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, he said your best bet just keep setting the ring up, buddy. So we was not this hotel, we was just having a good time. I'll never forget that he told that guy that because he thought he was fucking Ray Jr. and he wasn't. But yeah, so it takes assistance by the other guy by being in the ropes. Again, it's one of those things. You do want your beliefs suspended during that time. But, Jeremy, if I go over there and I fall between, the second and third rope and lay that way, and you're my opponent and they know that's something you normally do, they already know it's coming. You know what I'm saying? It's like and in other sports, to me, a lot of times you don't know it's coming. If it's football, you're like, okay, are they going to pass? Are they going to run? If it's baseball, is he throwing a curve to change up? In basketball, are they going to shoot out front, or are they going to try to set up for a layup or a slam dunk? I like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the predictability. You may have an insight on all those other sports. Even in MMA, as real as those guys, hard hitting and everything, there's setups for moves and stuff, but you don't know exactly which one's coming and where it's coming from. Boxing the same way, okay, generally you follow up with this and this, 2 jabs, and then here comes that overhand right, whatever it is. But I don't want to know that, okay, if I go over to the ropes and he's laying there or I'm laying there, this is what's coming. That's why when you reference, I think, the NWA, you're looking at the guys, how he presents himself in the ring, his work rate, where he's going to go, where he's setting people up at, and those things. But it's not, just a guy laying in the middle of the ropes out there.
Yeah.
And let me say this on my behalf. I'm not shitting on the wrestling business. I'm just having fun with these wrestling moves as one of the fans and as one of the boys going, oh, okay, because I'm going to have this next one's going to be a lot of people going, I can't believe they even talked about this, man. But this guy's a true legend, and I've done this with at least 3 other people. I didn't do it with this man, I'll say that. But it's The Undertaker when he walks the top rope, man. Now, I know Don Jardine back in the day. Don Jardine, spoiler, the original spoiler, was big and tall and had something to do with Mark's training. He walked in ropes, and it's very impressive. Don't get me wrong, to climb to the top rope. I don't care how tall you are, but if you're 6'10", like that's very impressive. And then you're going to walk out from the turnbuckle, maybe all the way to another turnbuckle, and then halfway down another side. You're holding the guy's hand for balance. I've done it with Jinsei over in Japan quite a bit, and then a local wrestler here I wrestled some he wrestled as a Black Scorpion. And he done it a couple of times and done it really good, man. And I was glad to do it because I'm in the match, you know what I'm saying? So, again, it's not a dig on The Undertaker. And I heard he just had I've only seen segments of it. I haven't heard the whole thing, that he had a really good 2.5 hour interview on a Joe Rogan podcast. Not that we need to boost his podcast on our podcast, just saying. Undertaker supposedly had a really good interview with Rogan the other day. I'm going to listen to it probably later tonight or tomorrow. But, man, but does it make sense that the man in the ring, I'm holding your hand I'm your balance beam, so to say.
Yeah.
A balancer, as you're on the balance beam, I should say, is what I meant. That rope being the balance beam, and I'm your support system for that. The first couple of times you see it, you're very impressed. And then after that, it just becomes like, okay, Jeremy, here's that part where they do the lead guitar act, or here's that drum solo coming out. You get used to it. You're listening to that band, and at this particular point, they're breaking down on that guitar solo, or that the high riser is coming out and the guy's getting ready to do his drum solo. That's what it's become with the walking the ropes. At some point, he's going to go up to the top rope and walk across it, holding your hand, the opponent's hand, and he's going to drop down with a drop on the head or a drop across the back of the arm or what have you, and you're going to sell the fuck out of it because he put in an extra 15 steps from something, 4.5 feet, 3.5 to 4.5 feet up in the ring, and you're already that tall. He's dropping it for that much more height on you for the impact. Not saying it's not impressive, but it's pretty stupid.
Yeah, well, it is stupid because let's just say you got a hold of my hand and you go up the turnbuckle and you're walking out the ropes, and now I decide, you know what, fuck it, and I just sit back. That's it. I'm just gonna sit back. You're coming off them fucking ropes, probably gonna hang your ankle up and eat shit. That's all there is to it,
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this. It's not stupid.
What's that?
Reading books.
Very good point. Reading books is not stupid.
And I have a couple of books out, and they help support the show. Sometimes if you order a book through the links I'm about to give you, Amazon will give this show a little bit of a kickback. It's your affiliate account, and it goes into my Amazon account. And my first book is called Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boostful Travel. And a professor has set up an easy way to get to that site. You go to tinyurl.com/blazebook1, and that'll take you right to on site for Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boostful Travel. The second book is called I Kicked Out on Two, The Education of a Wrestler. And once again, a professor has an easy address to get to that. That is tinyurl.com/blazebook2. Both of those books are available either in download or print editions. Now, when you get the print edition, like I said, the show does get a little bit of kickback, and we appreciate that very much. Also, on that Amazon page, I have about 3 other short stories. I have a little Christmas story, 22 pages. I have a little erotic story, just breaking into a different genre there. Again, about 22 pages. And then I have a story called Yard Time, and this is about 20 pages. But that book is also located inside of the book I Kicked Out on Two, The Education of a Wrestler. So if you're going to buy a short story, you can buy it. But if you want, you might as well buy the whole damn book and get the story in the book, Mm-hmm. And again, tinyurl.com/blazebook1. That's for Pin Me, Pay Me. tinyurl.com/blazebook2 for I Kicked Out on Two, The Educational Wrestler. And that's my book plug for this week. We haven't been plugging them the last couple of weeks. We just haven't been plugging them for whatever reason, man. But tell a friend about this podcast. Rate us on that podcast. While I'm going on that little bit of a rant, make sure you leave some ratings for us, reviews. Also, if you read my book, I know I've gotten a couple people that said they just finished reading my second book by DM. And if you're out there listening and you're one of those people, feel free to leave me a rating on my book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. All I ask for is a fair and honest review, just like I would anyone else's show. Just leave a fair and honest review of the book or of this program, and we appreciate it very much. And I'll get off of that unless Jeremy wants to add anything before we move on to number 5.
I just want to point out that rating Bobby and Jeremy suck is not a review. Mm-hmm. So don't do that.
Yeah, that's not their business.
Yeah. Whatever I do in my free time has nothing to do with you.
Right, and I agree with you. And I've had, like I think I've told you before, I've had one review moved on Amazon 3 years ago, and it was a 1-star review, and that's what it said. Honestly, it said Bobby sucks. And like I said, well, that may be true, and it's not their business. But I wrote Amazon nice little letter and said, this is not a review, and they took it down. And I don't know if anyone out there's ever had to take anything down off of Amazon, but I'll tell you what, you have to have a legitimate reason. For an example, if Jeremy wrote a review and said that this book sucks and, this, and this, they will leave it up there. You have to have a legitimate reason for them to remove a review. And that's one thing I don't do is go in and they encourage you as an Amazon author to interact with anyone that, leaves reviews for you. It just looks bad on you. You're not going to win the battle, And so I only interact with someone that I know personally have written me and said, hey, Bobby, I bought your book, and by the way, I left you a review. I thank them. I'm very happy for that. And if they give me a 2-star or 3-star or 5-star, whatever, I thank that person, and I'm sincere with my thanks in that. But again, like I said, if this program here, if you love it, leave us a nice 4 or 5-star review. If you hate it, say you hate it, but saying, Jeremy and Bobby suck, that's not a review, folks. Just be fair and honest. Keep that opinion to yourself,
Yep.
And that's that.
But if you want to criticize us for something that you can specifically say, hey, you guys suck at this, and then say, this, that, or the other, be constructive. I don't mind you telling me I suck in that situation at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
To me, that's fair and honest. If you say, Bobby says fuck too much, well, you probably got legitimate reasons. You don't like hearing that,
Yeah.
And I get it. And there's times during this podcast we have tried, especially with doing more of the YouTube. We've tried to cut back. Sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Work.
Yeah.
Good Lord. We've tried, and it's just not worth trying anymore.
Oh, man. Well, let's move on to number 5, because I think this is going to get Jeremy riled up a little bit, man.
This hurts my heart. This one hurts my heart
I know
to do.
It does.
Yeah.
And Nick Boggs, he had a couple of these, and when he said this one, I automatically I thought of another one. I saw Nick at the gym the other day, and I just said, hey, I stood my distance, I had my mask on, he had a mask on, and all that, just so you know. And I'm not going out there seeking friends at the gym or anywhere else. I'm minding my own fucking business, people. I go to the store, the beer store, and a couple of days a week I try to go to the gym. But anyway, my point being, Nick's been a lifelong wrestling fan, and I knew if I asked him this, he'd have a good answer, and he had a couple. But the first one off the top of his head, the Bionic Elbow by Dusty. And I said, oh, my God. I said, my partner, Dusty's one of his favorites, going to hurt him, man. But this is going to be a good one to bring up because I agree with you. And I told Professor off air, I said, the Bionic Elbow, what do you think? So go ahead, Professor.
Well, okay. So way back when, in episode number 4, where we talked about Dusty.
Yes, sir.
And if you haven't heard that one, go back and check it out. It's a fun episode. We talked about the Bionic Elbow, and like I said in that one, when I was young, I liked it because, it's badass. It's Dusty dropping elbows on people's heads and then selling their asses off and bouncing across the ring. Then you get a little bit older, and you're like, okay, I get that an elbow to the melon's going to hurt, but come on, and why is he winding up for so fucking long before he hits it? What's going on there? And then I got older, like an older person, like my mid to late 30s and older than that. And I appreciate it for what it is. It was Dusty's fucking goofy ass move that, that he could get people to sell for him and get kids in the crowd to pop. And okay, I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
But you know what else it is, Bobby?
What's that?
It's stupid with 2 O's.
I hear you there, Alice Cooper. Yeah. I hear you. But yeah, you know what though? I'd have been one of them guys had I had the honor of working with Dusty. I'd have bumped my ass off for that thing, man. As soon as he started winding up, brother, I'd have started running towards it, and I'd been willing to take a big bump for it too. But yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It's like you said, it's stupid. So and I think you wanted to say something else here that we about had in our top 10. And we thought, well, we'll just kind of add it with the Bionic Elbow, and that is the Dusty finish. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Jeremy?
Yeah, so recently, the way I've been kind of looking at things, that I realized that before, 85-ish, people had finishing holds, but matches more often just had finish-es. And it got to the point where the Dusty finish was like every match, you're expecting, every match that had 2 names in it. you're watching the back of the place the whole time because you're waiting for some fucking bullshit to happen, and it's just fucking stupid. And even in the time where like you still believed and you thought, hey, yeah, there might be some bullshit, but fucking these guys, these two right here, these fuckers are for real. But then the end of the match starts winding up, and you're just like, oh fuck, Barry Windham's gonna come out of the back dressed like Sting,
right.
Fucking Ole's gonna dart in from the audience. Ron Garvin's dressed like a girl, and he's gonna run in there and punch somebody. You're just waiting. You're like, why? I think 10 years of my life, I never saw an NWA match end with a big match end with a real ending. There was always some bullshit going on,
I like when I think here's a good run in, when that run is over between that babyface and that heel, and someone runs in that's going to be their next opponent. So right when, let's just use Dusty in this example, right when Dusty gets his hand raised, he finally beat whoever, I don't know, just saying. But then the next person runs in to start that feud off with Dusty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the only time I like those good run-ins. A lot of times, though, it's just for a DQ or a thrown out. That's not any good. That's not any good, And I know watching the matches, a lot of times, I'd be, especially WCW, I don't think they even, gave a fuck, and I don't know about WWE at the time. I just know, like, when I was in Canada, and I know when I was in Smoky Mountain, the smaller territories, people gave a fuck, meaning if I'm out there or as a babyface watching that match, like when I was in Canada, I was a heel, and I'd be watching a match, and someone say that's a hot finish, Bobby, meaning someone's coming in. So don't you be out there, because otherwise you're a heel. You need to be out there helping your buddies out, because one of your buddies, like someone be jumping in. Same thing when I was in Smoky Mountain, Robert Gibson, I'd be watching a match or something, and I don't know if he knew, if I knew, whatever it was, but one of us would say, hey, hot finish, and we just walk back to the back, drinking a soda, whatever, getting ready for our next match or whatever, because someone was going to interfere in that match with Tracy and Candido or whoever it was, you know what I'm saying? So those hot finishes like that, there's a reason for some of them, because you're starting a feud with the next, if that makes sense. This is who we're feuding against next. But I just didn't like them when you look, everyone's looking to the back. And it's all because there's no finish at all. And we made on this earlier, is like off air we was talking. Nowadays it's to the point, and I haven't watched it enough to know, but I imagine it's still going on even without a crowd, and that is, Jeremy, you and I was in the ring and we're having a fight and we're boom, and then someone else's music hits before they even come to the fucking ring. Like, that's to me like, okay, Jeremy, there's a rabbit in this hat, don't you? Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you know there's one in here, so when I pull it out, you won't be fucking surprised.
I always imagine some fucking poor intern running around the back, having to keep tabs on every fucking wrestler just in case they run to the ring, because he knows he's going to have to go to production and get their fucking music cued as soon as they show up. So there's this poor fucking kid, like 20 years old, out of college, we'll say, or he's in college. He's like a communications major. He's hoping to go to work for like a political party, and he's working here. And this poor bastard is running ragged 15 minutes into the show because he has to keep tabs on 500 wrestlers just in case one of them heads to the ring. Oh, yeah. Man, the first time you don't cue their music, man, you're fucking out of here. That's how they introduce themselves to this kid. You're fucking out of here, man. Oh, Bobby, hold on. Before we move on, I want to say, if I remember correctly, in the UWF, Cowboy Bill Watts was pretty fucking bad about last minute run-ins and non-endings on shows too. And, and speaking of Cowboy Bill Watts, why don't you tell everybody what we got coming next week?
Well, I'm glad that's a good segue there, man, when you said that. Next week, we're going to have a guest on here. We're going to do a deep dive into the Mid-South in the UWF, and we're going to have Adam, and Sparks Third Coast on here, two guys from the big fans of the Mid-South. So it's going to be you and myself and Adam and Sparks on here.
Yeah.
Adam, is it Pierce? I'm sorry, did I say that? Didn't mean to.
Well, you know what? I was just going to use his first
Pierce?
name. I was going to use his first name until he said how he wanted to be introduced or whatever.
I'm not sure how you say that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It might have a little Southern Pierce. I don't. Anyway,
I believe it's
Sparks
pronounced.
Third Coast. Go ahead.
I believe it's pronounced Beauregard.
But okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Beauregard. Okay.
Beauregard,
Adam
yeah.
Beauregard. And Sparks Third Coast, because I don't know Sparks' last name. Ha ha. Anyway, we're going to have them as guests, and we're going to have some questions for them. They're going to share some knowledge with us, and my questions aren't going to be too deep.
Nope.
I want to let them guys talk and tell us all about growing up. You had your San Francisco, and I had my Memphis, and you had your California, and I finally got some NWA, then you got some NWA, and then you got some WCCW, and I got some WCCW. But man, wasn't until later on that we finally got some Mid-South, and these guys have been fans of Mid-South for a long time, and so we're really looking forward to having him on as guest. And I'm Adam Beauregard there. If I exposed your gimmick, I'm sorry. And Sparks Third Coast, so I just know you're on the Third Coast. So kayfabe, I don't know anything.
No. See, I'm going to use this opportunity. I'm going to go get me a bottle of champagne, some sugar cubes, and a thing of bitters, and I'm just going to introduce the show and let those two talk.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I'm excited about that. Like I said, I have a few questions. I'm sure you do, and I'm just waiting to hear, for them to share their knowledge with us.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. Yes, and that'll be next week's program. But we're going to go back to this week's program, which has turned out to be a hell of a party, folks. We're recording way past our time that we normally record. So I think it's time we break out, because I'm not selling for it. But one time, you kicked me one time, and I'm going down. I ain't got to get back up and feed you again, motherfuckers.
No.
And that is your super kick party. That's the stupidest. Number 4.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
We went on a rant about that before, by the way. That's one of the rants we have went on.
Yes. Well, it's because it's irritating. I get that the guys running the AEW, the Young Bucks, they're not everybody's cup of tea, whatever, but they're good wrestlers. They're functional. They're just smaller than some people like or whatever. But what pisses me off is 900 fucking super kicks and double super kicks, and they can't put a fucking guy down. And, Chris Adams and Shawn Michaels, these guys use that fucking move as a fucking one-shot kill. Now, I said that once, and our departed friend Tex had to go point out that fucking, not only tell me about it, he had to show me video of Terry Garvin taking 2 before he went down, but okay.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. Again, the Bucks, I said this way back when Tex was with us as well, and that was I put them over for they figured out marketing. They figured out how to market their gimmick, and that's good. And that's what the boys, you have to learn how to make money. So I admire them for that part and that part only, because I have been in a ring with Chris Adams, and I took 2 super kicks from him, but it was in 2 different matches. So when he kicked me, I went down and stayed down, because that was the finish. And I didn't try to kick out on his finish either, by the way. I've taken several super kicks, and when I took them, and when I gave them, I used to be able to give one pretty good, actually. But when I gave one or when I took one, it was always just one. And I either stayed down and sold my ass off or took the pin, whatever it was called for at that point, But I didn't get back up and feed 15 other fucking holds, especially the same damn boot you keep throwing up at me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
After the first 2 or 3, I think you got enough fucking sense to either roll out a ring. Oh, do I get up and feed you a 4th, 5th, and 6th one? No? Okay, And to me on that one there now, that's just become a joke, because, there's a lot of things you would do and put over, but after a couple of them, I'd be like, fuck it, I'm out of here. Take part of my check. I don't know,
Yeah.
Sorry, but.
Well, I even saw where Eli Drake last night, I think it was last night or Friday night, He wrote, "Is there something evolutionarily different about younger wrestlers today who can take 5 DDTs and a super kick, and it's not an end?" And so, he's writing about that. And
good points.
As I was researching some things this week, just trying to get some things to the top of mind, I went and just did like a search, like stupid things in wrestling, just in general. What are some stupid things? And the guy who wrote the article I was reading, I because of this section here, I'm not going to remember the wording, but at one point he was talking about a clothesline just being a clothesline and how could it do whatever to somebody. And I'm thinking, okay, there are fucking moves that should just be finishes. They should never be used for anything else. And the fucking clothesline is one of them. That should not be. Look, a buddy of mine in, I think it was junior year of high school, fucking headhunted a dude with a clothesline playing football. They didn't let him play football the rest of that year or the next year because, I mean, he fucking floored this dude. And it just happened that he was pissed and he spun and he nailed the guy, and fucking flattened the guy out. Danner took his helmet off. That is a monster fucking move when done right. And this is what makes me think some people don't understand what getting hit under your chin will fucking do to you. And the super kick is right there. You jam your fucking foot with a full leg extension under their jaw. That head snaps back. They are going to be knocked the fuck out. Now you get 2 guys slamming into a guy's head at the same time. There's no way that kick should land 2-3 times. Fucking Bill Wallace used to knock fuckers out with kicks that were half that hard,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. You go back to the clothesline too. If done properly, if your name is not Stan Hansen, probably, that's your finish right there. Otherwise, don't use it, And I used to tell guys in these indie shows all the time, especially the ones I ran, and that would be like, I'd say, hey, no clothesline, no nut shots, and I'd put dash, 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 because if you've done one of those 2 things, I'd put no pay. Now, some of these guys might be making $25 in their training matches or $50, depending on if there's third match or up or what have you. But I always put that in there. We had a whiteboard down at the Armory here, and a lot of places, the armories or gyms that we worked in had a chalkboard or a whiteboard, and I'd put on there, no clotheslines, no nut shots, dash, 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 no pay. And I meant it, man. Like, don't go out there and fucking clothesline someone 15 fucking times, because that's the only thing you learned wherever you got trained at. You got trained wrong, And if you're in a real fight and you kick a guy or you're down on the ground and you reach up and grab him by the belt and, reach up and nut him one good time, that's pretty much going to stop it for right then. Yeah. If not end it, So that's why I did that. So, anyway, good points about that. Let's move on. We're going to call this next one because you asked me about it. I had the nerve hold, the Spock hold, and this, and I said, man, that's the Asiatic spike. And he said, well, you want me to write this up, Asiatic spike? And I was like, hell yeah. So no insult to anyone, but that Asiatic spike, 40 or fucking who was it? TJ Khan, who that was, living in the down there by the van.
Don't touch his van.
Don't touch his van. But by God, he's ready to put it. He learned it when Terry Gordy. If you ain't seen that piece of video, folks, what we're referenced there. Bill Mercer is interviewing or trying to interview Michael Hayes. But touches Terry Gordy's van. He's like, I want to talk to Gordy. And Terry Gordy comes busting out of the van, which they got parked underneath some fucking under ramp down there in Dallas somewhere. And you can just tell they've been partying that motherfucker for like 3 days. And, well, don't touch my van. Just go watch that. But I think he's after TJ Khan has broke up the Brotherhood. And Gordy's going to put the Asiatic spike on him. But, if you get behind that guy and you dig that thumb down in her neck, Jeremy, you compress it right down in there and you grip that trapezius and you hold it, man. I just feel myself crunching up on that side right now. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. But the Asiatic spike comes in at number 3.
Bobby, you gotta tape your thumb first though. It doesn't work. It doesn't work without the tape.
How does Spock get it over so easy?
Well, that was the Vulcan nerve pinch. That's different. That's different. See, Vulcans, yeah. See, Vulcans have telekinesis, and what they do is they use the natural electricity of their body to short out your nervous system. So that's how Spock does it. Yeah. Well, fuck, dude. I've been watching Star Trek.
You gotta have the tape on the thumb.
Yeah, you got to have the tape, otherwise it's not going to work. Gotcha. You know, it's not going to happen. Okay. Yeah, dude, I can't even talk about the Asiatic spike without thinking of fucking poor Terry Gordy rolling around on the ground because Bill Mercer won't stop touching his fucking van. And, you know, Terry Gordy, he just wants to take a dip of cha and listen to fucking Skinner and hang out and drink some fucking whiskey, but fucking Khan is making a problem for him, and Bill Mercer keeps touching his fucking van. And I love like how serious Michael P.S. Hayes is. Like, Bill, just don't touch his van, Bill. No, come on. Oh, here he comes.
Across that, man, we were like, oh my God, that's great. Folks, go look that one up. It's worth it. It's worth it, man.
It really is.
Gordy, like down on the fucking ground, rolling around, man. He's ready to get down.
Oh shit, you know. And then you watch this. Like, here's Bill Mercer, like one of the best professional voices for a newsman, and Bill Mercer is the guy who broke the news that Kennedy had been killed in '63.
Yeah, I read that after you was telling me about that, and I was honestly, Jeremy, just in the last, I'm talking like the last couple of weeks, when we was doing our territories and stuff, I found several things out of Bill Mercer, doing straight newscast and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's pretty damn interesting. Yeah. So
no,
we're always learning. You like myself, when we first started talking, we're like lifelong learners. And I was like, damn, man, that's pretty cool, man. All right, so number 2, man, I'm gonna tell you, my little brother turned me on to this one. When I was a young boy, he come running outside. He had discovered Memphis wrestling. He couldn't have been more than probably 6 years old, probably maybe 5. And I hadn't been watching wrestling for a while, so everyone's kind of heard that story. If you haven't, basically he was inside watching Memphis. Apparently he was getting ready to go off TV because by the time he came back, got me from outside to come in and see the TV, it was the wrestling credits were rolling. And he was explaining it to me, and I said, it was professional wrestling. So we waited until the next week, and sure enough, during a match, the person that did it was Bill Dundee. And it was called the Sunset Flip, and we was trying to figure out how you do it. We were just young kids and getting up on the bed and trying to flip over each other. It's the Sunset Flip. We didn't have any idea how to do it. We're fucking hitting each other pillows and pile driving them and all that, whatever. But that was my first time I saw the Sunset Flip. Now, you got to realize when you do the Sunset Flip, the guy's already been over for you. And I'm going to tell you how easy it is to when you're in the business, you can get caught up in this and that, and you learn something different. But you jump over the guy, you take your head, dive over him head first, your head going over his back and ass. You loop your hands on his hips, and as you're going over, your body weight pulls his body weight down, and you roll him up for a pin. Now, what I did a little bit different. I did that traditional style, but there's another way you can do it too. And, of course, in this one here, got to break kayfabe here for a second, folks. If I'm wrestling you and I'm going to do a sunset flip, okay, and a guy shoots me off for the backdrop, well, I outsmart him, okay? But instead of doing a traditional sunset flip, and I had a guy stand up on me before doing this, so that's why you got to kind of, Iggy, let him know, hey, I'm giving you a sunset here. So instead of feeling my hands on their hips and then pulling them back, what I would do is I would leapfrog them, okay? When I leapfrog them, I roll back through their legs, so I'm looking on my back eye to eye at you, and then I take my legs and I hook your arms and I roll you up. So it's a really neat way of doing a sunset flip. Not seen a whole lot here in the U.S. Not saying I just had some good training, let's just say that.
Yeah.
So it was something different. It was a sunset flip, but it wasn't the way you saw it in Tennessee for the last, 50 years or whatever. It was a way that, oh my goodness, how did that guy do that? He just rolled them up, the sunset. But it gave me a little a set for my comebacks, just a little bit different way to set up a sunset flip. I had used it in Canada when I was babyface up there last I don't know, the last several weeks of the second tour, I was up there, he turned me face, and I just, again, the guy would bend over, I leapfrogged him, roll back through the legs, and then their arms are up in the air already looking like, where the fuck's he at? And I just take my boots, I hook them underneath his arms, he rolls right back, just a little back roll, 1, 2, 3, or, 1, 2, kick out, move on. So sunset flip, though, we're putting them under the most stupidest fucking moves because I just told you all the reasons why it's pretty fucking stupid. So give me your 2 cents, Professor.
Well, so the sunset flip, I mean, if it was done smooth enough so it looked like you went over them and then in one continuous motion rolled them through,
yes,
I could see that. Or like in your case, you're using your legs to hook the arms and swing them back. I see that because at least it pulls that person in a direction, because otherwise I just go, so why not just fall to your knees and get the pin yourself? Just fall.
That's what I was waiting on.
Yeah, just fall forward a little bit and bend your leg, and now you got him to the mat. Not only that, you got your knees dug into both of his biceps. That fucker's not going anywhere.
And that's kind of what my brother and I learned.
Yeah.
At a young age, and that's why I'm putting on this list. 1, because it brings back such a good memory, but 2 is because you're just exactly what you said. Once we were learning to do it, it's just like, I just fall on you and you're pinned.
Yep.
Don't jump over me again, because I'm gonna pin you every fucking time. Anyway, I'm glad we put that in there for sentimental values, man, and give a shout out to my brother Jim there while we're talking about that. Now this next one. This is the one that kind of started it all last week, and you put a question on the old notes, and I'll get to that as far as yet. Yes, I've had it done, but this one kind of started it, and we was like, now is this going to be a top 10? Is it number 10, or is it to be a starting point, or is it number 1? And we done this. We said this is number 1, because that's when we kind of started talking about this as we was finishing up the WCCW territory, and just even doing the champions and some other different things, man. I was like, Jeremy, this is going to hurt you, man, because this is your home territory, and this is such an over fucking hold, man.
Oh.
But really, I hate to tell you, it's stupid.
So
the
stupid.
Claw.
Yeah.
The Claw.
Just
I
dumber.
hate to tell you that.
Dumber than a bag full of drowned mice. When you really look sentimentally, I love this move.
Yes.
Big Barry used to use it too, man. His dad also used it. I mean, the Claw, we should like it. Baron von Raschke, who, did you ever notice that as you age, Baron von Raschke looks less and less scary every day? Like, same picture of him.
He never changed.
Yeah.
So you could like him at 12 or 13, and he looked scary, but when he was 40, he still looked the fucking same.
Yeah, it's just
it didn't scare you as much.
But he used it, and I guess actually the Claw used to be a quote unquote Nazi move at some point for whatever reason, because lots of people forget, but Fritz von Erich started as a wrestling Nazi, and he's the one who brought it in. Now the thing is, with the Von Erich boys, they could crush apples with their bare hands, and all that shit. They were strong, but the Claw's a stupid hold, man. What are your arms and legs doing while they got you in the Claw?
Yeah, they're swinging around, running around, moving around.
When you should be punching and kicking the fucker who's trying to hold onto your head like it's a bowling ball. Yeah.
Well, I got 2 stories. One, when I was doing just a little bit of research on this, it had Abby apparently told Carrie. Now I don't know if he ever done it or not, but he said, you're not putting that on me. He said, it's just stupid. Look at my head, which makes sense on Abby. And the same thing with his gut, it makes sense on Abby. Like, your arm is not strong enough to hold my big fucking cut open melon head, nor is it strong enough to hold my big fat gut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know if he ever done it. If he did it, I'm sure, like you say, you just walk away from it. I had the Claw put on me by Bruiser Bedlam, of all people. Down in Smoky Mountain. Here I was, had already been on TV, been the TV champion, had been a junior heavyweight champion, was coming off the heavyweight championship belt, run, and was kind of no quick kid, people. I had that series with Dirty White Boy and all this, and the fucking first night, Cornette brings Bruiser Bedlam in for TV, And I jump off. I do some different things. He's a big, strong cocksucker, man. He benched over 660 some pounds and this and that. And anyway, I end up on the mat, and he grabs my stomach with his fucking fist, a claw, and puts like an iron claw on my gut. And of course, Cornette's out there managing him. But I sell it to the point of submission. I'm like, fuck, you know. I said, I'm here like 2 years, and I ain't fucking quit one match. Ain't missed any bookings or anything. And this guy comes in one night, and I fucking got to take the claw from him, you know. But that's that. Also wrestled a fucking mummy for a couple of weeks. So what are you going to do? Just collect your check, you know?
Yeah, that's all you can do, right?
So I guess that number one hold there, is that what you're going to go with, Jeremy?
Well, I mean, you know, partially because it is such a sentimental thing for me that I have to admit that it is not a great move. So yeah, for me, that's the number one.
Why don't you give us a run of the top 10 if you don't care?
Absolutely. Number 10, the leg drop. Number 9, the Styles Clash. Number 8, the Canadian Destroyer. Number 7, the Tarantula. Number 6, walking the top rope. Number 5, the Bionic Elbow. Number 4, the stupid stupor kick party. Number 3, don't touch Terry's van. Asiatic Spike, sorry, I went off in a whole different direction there. 2, the Sunset Flip. 3, the bad guy from Get Smart, the Claw.
Freebird rule right now,
What?
baby. You can't see me.
Oh,
you
fuck,
can't
no.
See me.
No, Bobby.
You can't see me.
No.
Yes. I'm telling you right now, man. I had a caller the other day, and he told me, he said the stupidest move. Andy, if you're out there listening, and I'm sure you are, this goes out to Andy. The 5-knuckle shuffle, baby.
Oh,
the stupidest move ever. Andy Best is his name. When he sent me that one, I was like, oh, man, I don't know how to get this on this list unless I slide it in by telling Jeremy you can't see me and using the Freebird rule. Yes or no?
That's the only way you're getting it on my show. I can tell you that.
Thank you, Andy. Oh man, and thank all the guys that sent in, all the different ideas. Many of them were duplicated and repeated and etc. But that was a fun list, Jeremy. I really enjoyed it, man.
That was a lot of fun.
And a fun podcast. We've already mentioned we have a couple guests and do a deep dive into Mid-South next week. And if I'm not mistaken, and I could be very easily, believe me, I think this is number 98, program number 98. Next week will be 99 if it comes off as planned. So in just a few weeks, we're going to be having our 100th episode, and I'm not quite sure, nor is the professor, unless he's got something hit up his sleeve or pulls out a Freebird rule, what we're going to be doing for our 100th episode. We could have some guests, could have some ideas, but if you have anything to suggest for our 100th episode, please feel free to write at Twitter at the Bell to Bell Blaze on that podcast, or hit me up at Bobby Blaze 744 or the professor up at the Geekish Cast and let us know. Maybe you'd like to be a part of that 100th anniversary or 100th show. We'll let you know. But get with us. Roll us out of here a little bit, Jeremy. I have a couple closing remarks. You have a couple closing or whatever. That's a fun list today.
Oh, that was a total blast. Absolutely. You know what? I don't actually have anything to close with besides our regular close. Bobby, what do you want to roll out with?
Brother, roll out the regular close, man, because that was a fun podcast. It's good to be doing our top 10 again, and I'm looking forward to getting some guests on here in the future and just continue. Hey, for number 98, man, we done pretty good for ourselves.
Not too bad. Yeah, you know what? Anybody who's listening who's like in the wrestling business, whether you're a promoter, hell, maybe even a costume maker or a wrestler or whatever, we are going to start talking about doing guests more frequently, which is still for us probably going to be pretty infrequent, but we do want to have more people on. Go ahead and hit us up. Bobby gave out our Twitter addresses already. Feel free to hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you can find us. And let us know, like, kind of what you do and if you got an idea for an angle on a show or something that you might want to sit in on. Now, that being said, for the late Tex Johnson, for myself, Professor Jeremy Vilmur, and for the Blaze and Bobby Blaze, bye-bye, everybody.